Hey, what is going on, guys? Maldiva here, and today I'm going to be bringing you all an Affliction PvP talent guide. Also, I'll go over Conduits and the Soulbinds a little bit that I play in Arena, and also let me know if you would want to see the other specs, because I have been playing a little bit of Destro and Demo, so I can definitely make a guide for those as well. So definitely drop a like and comment on this video if that's what you want to see, and then let's get into it. So the Affliction talent build is pretty simple because the whole talent row, most of them are completely just standard. I'm not touching anything really. We'll maybe shift our PvP talents, but that's kind of it. So first row, always going Inevitable Demise, really good burst if you can stack it up all the way and there's no interrupts for you. Also gives you a little boost on healing too. So that's definitely helpful because we're getting targeted down a lot. And if you could utilize this in the healing, it can definitely save the day, paired with some other conduits that I'll show off later. The next one, Absolute Corruption, you're going to always want that. Pairs really well with the legendary. As you know, Affliction, you have to use the Corruption legendary. So this is going to help out while using that legendary for the extended duration on the slow. For level 30... Demon Skin, that's going to be baseline. You don't really mess with these other two. They're just like this kind of PvE. Dark Pact, maybe I could see that in a short twos game, possibly. Or like a duel. Like where the duration isn't going to go so long that you'll get another one of these. Because if you use it at low health, it's not as beneficial. So I could definitely see that maybe coming into play. Then for 35, always Phantom Singularity. Yeah, we definitely like that. Can extend it with Dark Lair, and this buffs our Rapture damage. So you want to try to get your Rapture windows in with the Phantom Singularity. These other two are just PvE ones. You're not going to get to cast Vile Taint, and there's no point anyway because it's a slow, and you already have a slow, and it costs a shard. It's kind of crappy. For level 40, we do have two options here. So I default in a Howl of Terror for 3s because there's more targets to Howl or to fear, whereas in 2s there's only 2 people, so the Howl isn't going to be as beneficial. Maybe you can do it versus like Windwalker Illusions or BM Hunter Pets, but for the most part I'm running Howl in 3s and then Coil in 2s. Really good versus warriors to have that extra DR to get them off you. And you get the 20% max health heal, which is really nice. So going into 45, I pretty much just camp Sacrifice because it does a ton of damage. It sucks that you have to like ditch your pet, but the damage that Sacrifice deals is just insane. Actually, ridiculous. And the other two options are just not that appealing. Haunt, nah, like no one's gonna let you cast that. Not really worth it. And then Dark Caller, I think I've seen some people use this because they're trying to line their Dark Lair up with their Dark Soul. If you see, it's a 3-minute cooldown. You use that, drop it down to 2 minutes, and then it lines up with Dark Soul. But then you got to lose Sacrifice and play with a pet, which can be a little awkward, and you might have some struggle with the damage. And for level 50, I default always into Dark Soul. It's our major offensive cooldown. The other ones, Soul Conduit, not really useful. I mean, a lot of the times we're sitting on our shards because we can't cast anyway because we're just getting trained. Creeping Death. Since the dots, it makes your dots kind of last a shorter duration, so it feels awkward to play. And it's already hard enough to keep dots up, so then if you pick this talent, you're going to make it even harder. It's like, sure, yeah, it says they deal damage 15% faster, but you're going to struggle to keep dots up, which I don't really find it worth it. I'd rather have the like longer corruption, so the slow is up longer, and then the UA for the dot coverage to cover like whatever CCs, or even if you're playing with a Shadow Priest, cover their mind games. Like, it's unfortunate our Dark Soul gets purged most of the time. I know it really sucks, but you kind of just have to play around that. Try to find some good opportunities to cast it. I've had a lot of times where I just need to get all my dots up. I press Dark Soul and go behind the pillar and just hide so I don't get purged, and it really sucks because I want to Rapture during that window, but I just can't because it'll most likely just be purged. Everyone that has a purge is looking out for that. And now going on to the PvP talents, my default setup is Rampant, Demon Armor, and Rapid Contagion. These two, Rampant and Rapid Contagion, are pretty much you need by default. You don't really want to rotate these out. It'll really suck and impact your damage a lot. Demon Armor, you're obviously going to play this versus anything that does like physical damage. You need the armor. Versus casters, you're not going to need the 5% extra health. So you'll opt in for, usually when if I'm against double caster, I'll swap this out for Nether Ward right here, because I won't need the extra armor. And now for some other PvP talents that I could see you messing with, there is a kind of cheesy Deathbolt build where you stack all your dots up, pop all your offensive cooldowns, and launch like a huge Deathbolt. And it could actually potentially one-shot someone. It hits hard. And the only problem is it's not really consistent. If people know what to look out for, it's really easy to stop. And you literally have to line up everything for it to hit super hard. So if you do it without cooldowns, it's like not impactful at all. So I don't really mess around with that build much. So it's either that, and then I used to mess around with Amp Curse in 2s, because you could possibly drop Rampant and play with the Amp Curse against like warriors to do the Amp weakness and they can't crit. I remember I used to have to do that like way back, but I know it's just so tough dropping these two talents. That's why I don't really do it too often. It's either like that, drop Demon Armor for Nether Ward, and boom, I just stop there. I don't really test out any of the other talents. So now that we got that done, we are going to go over the Soulbinds. So obviously, I'm Night Fae. If you're in PvP for an Affliction Warlock, you're kind of going to be Night Fae, because you have the Soul Rot for the Drain Life. Pairs really well with Inevitable Demise, because you can AoE Drain Life people with your Soul Rot. And Soul Shape, the Blink, really nice mobility. It really helps us out because we have to kite like crazy. So I'm using the Corian Soulbind, which gives Wild Hunt Tactics. So your damage to targets above 75% health and healing to targets below 35% health is increased by 10%. This is really good because usually you're going to have this up a lot if you put, let's say, a dot on the healer, and usually if they're not your main target or even an off target, they're going to be above this, and you gain the move speed increase. So you can see you gain 15% move speed for 5 seconds when this procs. Like the damage increase over 75% health is also really nice to kind of get you to that point with your dots. But the move speed also for kiting, because we really got to be moving around. It's pretty awesome. My first conduit that I'm using is Agony to extend the duration of Agony. Definitely helpful. Saves you some GCDs. Use the Agony to generate some shards and also stack up your Drain Life stacks. And this does, I guess that's kind of the Horn of the Wild Hunt. I just went this way because we want the extra potency instead of endurance. And maybe we don't really want that. And then my finesse is going to be Shade of Terror. So your fear effects can withstand more damage before breaking. Very, very important. I wish I had the higher one because you're fearing a lot with dots up, and that's huge for Affliction. You're always going to have dots, and your fears will break pretty quickly if you don't have that. They already break kind of fast, but yeah, this definitely helps out. Get in formation doesn't really benefit in PvP. We go down to the endurance one. So I am using Accrued Vitality. Drain Life heals for 60% of the amount drained over 8.4 seconds. This can be an insane hot. Like, if you're getting some big drains in, you can stack that thing up pretty high, and it's a lot of my healing. So definitely really good conduit paired with the Inevitable Demise. I really love it. And then lastly, we're going to go for the second potency conduit. I am using the Focus Malignancy for the extra Rapture Dam. That's my big burst. I'm always trying to get as many Raptors off in the fight as possible. So we'll buff that by a big amount. I do see some people, they'll opt for Corrupting Leer over, I think, Malignancy. I don't really mess with Corrupting Leer too much, but that is also one of the options if you want to reduce the Dark Lair, to try to line it up with your Dark Soul a little bit easier. And then we have since we went the potency route, we got face your foes while in front of your target. Your spells and abilities decrease the damage they inflict on you by 3%. It's something. I mean, we're squishy. We get attacked a lot, so definitely cool to have that help save us because we're so squishy. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, if anybody's curious, we'll go over the stats that I go. So I am pretty much all haste verse, get around 30% verse because you want to be tanky as possible. Then I'm just gemming for haste in my sockets and enchanting for haste because we're trying to build this back up. Haste is like really good for really nice for our damage, and just it feels good when you have a high amount of haste when you're a caster. So get those dots out faster and route the team down. But yeah, so I hope this guide has been helpful. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. If there's any other topics that you want me to cover, the other specs, and leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.